last card, I loved making this card. This is new ribbon I picked up. It's vintage ribbon. It's kind of like a mustard color rickrack. It's giant. It is really, really cool. So I really wanted to just have a lot of fun with this card and kind of create something a little bit more unusual and a little bit more artistic-esque. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our mustard color paper here. Oh, we've pre-done the little gold dots on this page for you. If you're not a fan of the dots, you can do it on the other side, but I liked the dots on here because the gold dots just went along really nicely with the theme of the card. So what we're going to do is we're going to put double-sided tape on the back side of this on all four sides. Then we're going to take our wide rickrack here and we're just going to do it along one edge of our card. And I'm not bringing it all the way to the edge. I'm kind of leaving probably about 1/4 of an inch, maybe about 1/8 of an inch on the left-hand side. I'm going to bring that around, stretch it, and pull that to the back. Okay. All right, so that's what we have at the moment. Then I'm going to put double-sided tape on top of that on the back because we're going to be now laying on our mesh ribbon. Just kind of frames out our nice little rickrack there and makes it look not as stark, makes it look a little bit more interesting. We're just going to bring that to the back side here and press that in place to the double-sided tape. I really like how that looks. Then we're going to put double-sided tape there up the top and then along the edge there and along the bottom, and then I might as well just add a bit more tape there. All right, now we're going to mount this on the front of our card base here on top of our ivory card base. I'm just going to lay that in place and stick it down. Okay. All right, now we have our little square here. Okay, so this is 4 yards of twine. And I am going to suggest as you're doing this, just because based off of how it went in class, that you leave about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch between each little piece as we're wrapping it. Otherwise, if they're too close together, you're going to run out of twine and we need it for other parts of the card. Okay, so we're putting double-sided tape on the back side of our little square on all 4 sides. Then we're going to take our twine and I'm going to line it up on the edge right here and I'm going to wrap it. So as I'm doing this, again, I'm trying to aim between about 1/8 of an inch between each little section, or you could even do 1/4 of an inch, and 1/4 of an inch would be just fine. Actually, I think today this ends up being a little bit closer to 1/4 of an inch. And honestly, you probably want it to be closer to that because although when it's really, really close together, although it looks very cool, you will run out of twine. And that did happen with a gal in class. If it does happen to you, just stop by and I'm happy to give you some extra twine. So then that way you can finish your card from your kit there. All right, so we've done that all the way around and then we're just sticking it to the back side here. Right onto the double-sided tape. Whoops, a little finicky. And I'm just going to trim that. Okay, so this is what we have at the moment, just going one direction. Now I'm going to put double-sided tape on the back side again on all 4 sides. That way all of those sections are still nice and sticky. And we take where we left off our little tail here. Oh, I have created a knot. There we go. Okay, so now we have this side, and again, we're just going to start in that same top section there. Whoops. And now we're going to wrap it the other direction. Okay, and as you go around to the back side, I always like to kind of stick it as I wrap it. That way it's not going to unwind on me. Whoops. Unravel. All right, and there we go. And it's nice to have the even amount of space between each one in this direction as well, because that way you'll know that it will look right and will look good. All right, and bring those around. Oh, there's a weird fiber in there. Bring those just a little bit closer. This is probably the most tedious card, which is why I saved it for last. All right, and then we're just going to bring that down to the back side and we're just going to stick that in place. All right, okay. So there we have our little woven, well, it's not woven, but the twine card. But anyways, I really like how that looks. Okay, now if you have it a little bit closer together, it has a little bit more of an impact, but then you have a little bit less twine. So everyone's going to be a little bit different, but hopefully that went well for you. Okay, so now on the back side of this, again, double-sided tape on all 4 sides. And we're just going to mount that right here on the card, kind of a little bit closer to the top than the bottom, and I'm just going to lay that on. And then I have my fun star here. I'm going to trim off these little tail pieces here. Double-sided tape is what you'll need for adhering your little star. And you're just going to stick that in place right there. Yay! All right, so now I have a lot more twine left over than I thought I would. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is on the inside of the card, I'm going to kind of start at the bottom here. I'm going to wrap this. Depending on how much twine you have, you will need to have, actually, let's start with a different section because I want to make sure you guys have enough for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half. This little piece here, you want to give yourself enough space to tie a bow, okay? And if you need to do a little tester just to make sure that you have enough and kind of do like a faux and be like, oh, do I have enough? So you want to make sure you give yourself enough to tie a bow. That's what's important, okay? So I have my little piece, I trimmed it off. This piece, we're folding it in half, and then we're cutting this in half, okay? All right, so then we have our little bow here. And the reason I decided to go with 2 pieces of twine for the little bow is because otherwise it's really hard to see, and it's not dramatic enough to make an impact on the card. Okay. All right, so we have our little bows there, our little tails. I'm just gonna trim those off. I have a little bit of double-sided tape. I'm just gonna put right at the bottom of the card, just a tiny little piece right there, and that way I'm gonna stick my bow right in place right there, and that really helps balance the front of the card. Okay, so now the inside with whatever you have left over. Okay, now you might not have very much, you might only have enough to just do one time. Weirdly enough, I actually have quite a bit here, so I actually can go around 3 times. And I'm just gonna bring my twine underneath here and tie a little knot. Oh, I might as well do a double knot there so it doesn't come unraveled. And there we have our inside of the card that kind of goes with the front of our card. Okay, so there we have all 3 cards. Yay! I am so happy with how these turned out. Ah, so much fun. Our bee card, our fun summer taco card, and of course our fun kind of monochromatic mustard yellow card. Hope you guys had fun. Thanks for joining me. See you guys later. Bye-bye.